And I'd like to welcome Naima. How you doing, Naima?
I'm doing well. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing great. It's a rainy Wednesday, but it's nice and warm in here in the studio. How is it where you are?
It's not too bad actually. A lot of people are in. The weather is a little bit cloudy, but it's fun.
And we've already got a bunch of people here in the chat room. Thanks for joining us. And remember, you get out of this what you put into it. So we like to answer questions, and we like to answer lots of questions. So if you have questions related to digital marketing and taking your business online and taking your sales online and how to convert your normal foot traffic or your regular customers to start out now buying online or anything, put it in the chat room, put them in the Q&A window, and we'll get to them when appropriate or at the end. We don't like to leave with questions unanswered.
Yep. Yeah. So that'd be great if if you can let us know whether you're brick and mortar or you're already a business online. If you're B2B or B2C, kind of you can, or you're just here to learn. So just let us know who you are so we can make sure that it's relevant to you as well. Make the topic relevant to you. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about taking your sales online, and I think I'm gonna today, just to give you a gist, we're gonna be covering the customer, basically tracing out customer journey and taking that online. What does the step-by-step process of someone finding your business to buying from your business look like? So that's what we're gonna be covering today. Let's look at, Craig, do you want me to go?
Yes, please.
Okay, perfect. So let's do that.
And it's so important because I talk to lots of businesses who are in this mode of transitioning, but they simply don't know how.
Yeah, so I mean, there are different layers of how to take your business online. You can actually, if you're an e-commerce business, if you're a store, how do you take that business online and make that into e-commerce? There is topics around how to take your service business where you did a lot of the, face-to-face and take that online. But today, what we're going to be covering is the foundation that makes the process and the actual planning of how all your marketing activity around your business online looks like by looking at the IDA, the classic customer journey model. And so we'll just look at that and compare that to before in traditional marketing, or when we didn't rely as much on digital landscape to communicate and connect with customers, and then just go through there. Okay, so I kept it super short. So we have a lot of time for Q&A. Okay, so today, again, we're gonna learn how to take your sales online. And you're here today because you're a brick and mortar store, that's looking to go online. Or you're just looking to showcase your business online. Maybe you're like me, you're a service business or a digital marketer, and you're trying to, showcase your business better online, improve your sales cycle. And then lastly, maybe you already have your business online, but you're not getting as much traction. Maybe this will help you get some insights to kind of improve, pinpoint exactly which stage of the customer journey you're having the most trouble with. So that's why you're here. If you are not here with those three things, then most likely you're just here for me and Craig, and that's all right too. So, all right. So first thing I want you to do is ask yourself, because this is a basic, like if you don't know this, then we cannot move forward. So the first three questions that you want to ask yourself is, do you know who your customer is? Especially online, because when you're dealing with people in person, one-to-one, there's a lot of there's some improv that you can do. Whether you're an insurance broker, or let's say that you're someone who's a flower shop owner or any kind of business, you have that improv factor, right? And there's also that chance where people might drop in just by them walking past your store, they might drop into your store, or you just happen to meet someone. But when it comes to online, everything is very intentional. So it's very important that you know exactly who your customer is. And then the next thing is, second is, do you know who your competition is? And, are they online, and where are they, and what are they doing? That's number two. And then the last one is understanding what makes you so different, because these three things, if you can answer those questions, you don't have a digital marketing problem, you have a business problem where you don't understand your business. Craig is also someone that asked me the last question, especially why you? There's so many digital marketers out there. So that's the number one question he always asks me. So it's really important because these questions help you answer the complimentary questions on your right here that actually help you in taking your business online. Maybe Craig, do you have any insights on this? See you nodding.
Yeah, I mean, it's people, it's relationships, right? People at the end of the day buy from people because they feel comfortable. They think you can solve their problem. You know, we do some of that on here where people come and join us and get to see you, get to see me several times a week, and you a few times on our videos and whatnot, and get to know and trust you, and then maybe decide to give you a call and work with you. So that's all about trust. And it's the same thing when they come online. You know, when someone walks through your door, you're trying at a physical brick and mortar store, you're trying to build that relationship. You're trying to give them an experience they want, and they're going to hopefully leave happy. It's the same thing when you get to the website, like you said, with the ADA formula. Hopefully we're going to go through it. You know, you've got to take them through certain steps to walk them through that motivation of buying. You're still
Sorry.
muted. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I had to mute myself because I was coughing. Okay, so yes, these three questions, if you need to be able to answer those three questions, no matter what kind of business you are, whether you're an online business or an just in-person business and now having to operate online. These are questions that if you understand exactly who your customer is, it's going to get so much easier to craft the messaging and target them and know exactly where you should put all your efforts into. Because what happens is we try to do, TikTok, we try to do Instagram, we'll try to do YouTube, and that's because we're just trying to go online, but there's no targeting involved in that, in that decision of going on, just the general platform. So it's really important to understand exactly who your target audience is. So that's going to help you figure out which channels to use, how to target them, what messaging you need to use, all that, especially online. It's really, really important. I cannot stress that enough. A lot of times, especially if you're new to the digital marketing world, you might come in and you might just think, I'm just going to go online, and this is where I have access to so many people, and I'm just going to target everybody. I'm going to just, be on every channel. And that does not always pan out, especially for small businesses, because you need to be able to manage those accounts as well and be able to directly communicate with your customers. You don't want to be communicating with 13-year-old or 17-year-olds who maybe not be able to afford your $500 jewelry collection, for example. So, you have to choose you have to be able to understand exactly where your customers are, but also who, so that you can be where they are. Again, so the competition factor is really important as well, especially when it comes to your SEO, and when you're doing your ad campaigns, because you can actually, with online, the great thing about digital marketing is you can find out exactly what words they're trying to rank for, how they are ranking for certain words. And then the idea is you do the assessment and then be able to overtake those keywords if those keywords are valuable to you, right? So it's really important to understand who your competition is. These are all the basics of, when we go into business and marketing, but these are extremely important when you go online, because these are the things that are going to help you with having successful sales online. Because a lot of times you might be online, but you might not get that sale, as many sales as you like to have for your business. So let's continue. Okay, so a typical customer journey is what you need to consider in order to take your business online. And kind of I've laid out a bunch of activities, and we're going to go through that together. Here is, so just as, you might have seen this already, it's the classic IDA model, right? So you have the awareness, interest, decision, and then you have your action. But the digital marketing version is really, really important, because for each of the different phases, there's different activities that are involved, in order to make sure that you're keeping them interested, keeping them, moving along the funnel. So a funnel, when we talk about funnel online, it's just like similar to what it looks like. So let's say that you have a brick and mortar flower shop, and someone passes by your store, right? Maybe they were not they didn't know about your business, but they see your sign outside, and then they, it's just like, okay, that's their first interaction with your business. So that's their first interaction where they say, oh, there's a flower shop right here, on my way to home. Okay, so then they're aware of your business, right? So that's the first step. The second one would be something happens, maybe it's Mother's Day, and then they think, oh, it's Mother's Day, I'm gonna buy the flower on my way, to my house, and then give it to my mom. So it's like that now you have the interest, right? Consideration, so on and so forth. Same idea, except online. Now, when we talk about awareness, here is where this is where they're now made aware of who you are, just like the case of flower shop. So here we have so generally speaking, when we talk about bigger brands, they're investing in, these are the traditional marketing here, right? So let's say that they have the television, billboard, magazines, radio, or word of mouth. That's like the first time they hear about you. But now when it comes to online, this is where most people are discovering your business. It's not your website. For most small businesses, it's not their website, because especially if you're thinking of taking your business online, most likely you don't have established presence right now. So most of it is happening, where are you getting that immediate contact, right? So this is usually where the social media, or this is where you're basically doing the direct advertising to get to them right away. So you have your email marketing, text marketing, all these different programs. Now the next thing to consider, or the next step, especially when it comes to online, is like, how findable are you? How easy is it for someone to find you? Because that's the other aspect of digital marketing or taking your business online. Because if, let's say that the idea for taking your business online is to just have a store online, just have a website online, that is not enough anymore, right? So this is not the 90s. Like now we all have websites. Even a 13-year-old can create a website and just have a website, to their name. And so, but that's not what we are doing here. When we talk about taking our business and sales online, we're really thinking about how is customer going to find me online? Just as you would when you have a store, you don't just sit in the store, right? You think about, how am I gonna get people in the door, right? So how am I gonna get more people to know that I'm here, and how am I gonna find my ideal customers? So again, here being able to, if you understood the three questions, the earlier questions that we asked, the why you, who your customers are, and who your competition is, those three questions are going to help you here greatly. Because when you're thinking about standing out, clearly communicating your target audience and letting them know exactly why they need to buy from you versus your competition, this is where you want to make sure that you can really, grab them, right? And also be able to easily be found. So for these two things, here we're mostly focusing on the organic search. So when you think about taking your sales online, you really have to think about the the stages in the sales, right? So, and then part of the stage also involves being able to easily be found and stand out from the competition. So if I'm looking for, let's say, to get my eyebrows done, or let's say that I wanted to get my lashes done, this is a huge thing right now. Every girl I've seen so far has been getting those permanent lashes. So if I was to get something like that done, like I would look first on my Instagram or online, and I would look for like lashes, and I would actually try to find someone who does those lashes. And on top of that, I want to find someone near me, right? So this is where, especially if you are a local business, I want to focus on Google My Business. That's a easy game for most of the local businesses. I have an example, like here we have one auto shop. So let's say Colin Auto Shop. There are different peoples that we usually work with, but the smaller businesses that we work with, especially if they can invest a lot in SEO, which is totally fine. Like SEO as in, the search engine optimization of the whole website, and, investing into blogs, and investing into, tons of backlinks, and investing into actual like basically overhaul of the site. The main thing, if you're trying to get a lot of traffic from local, like your especially if you're auto shop, right? Your business is by being in contact with the person. You want to be able to be found on Google. So here is Paladin's Auto. So he has over 56 Google reviews, right? So having more reviews, posting regularly, anytime you're in the Kiel area, you look up auto shop, auto repair, you're gonna run into Paladin's Auto Shop, because he's easy to find for that local area. And the reason we say Google My Business is because this is an easy hack for a lot of the local business to grab those traffic that's in that immediate vicinity. Even if a business is bigger than you, let's say what are the other auto shops? I completely blanked out, but like let's say the big main store, box stores, auto shops, even if their brand is huge, they have great SEO. If you're in this area, you're going to find him. And technically, especially if you're an auto shop, you want the business near you, right? So you want someone to drive into your lot. That's the only way that they can do business. So this is one of the ways that you can be found and stand out, because again, the local factor, you have that's one example. So the other thing is you can also, the Google My Business is almost like acts also as a directory. It's social media. You can technically interact with people there. You can post there. You can actually, also get reviews. So you can actually do your reputation management there as well. So there's a huge, there's a lot of opportunity there for businesses that are small. Now, the next thing we have, once people are able to find you and they can actually assess your reputation, this is where you want to make sure that your everything you're putting out is up to code with who you are as a business, right? So for example, here, let's see. Yeah, I think we're on the same page. So here earlier we talked about Paladin's Auto Shop. As a business, especially if you don't have to go through the process of qualifying customers, it's huge, right? So you don't have to actually contact, let's say you get a lead, or let's say that there's someone that's interested in your products. Imagine a world where they just go back to your Google review pages and they see tons of positive reviews. And then that is the deciding factor for them. That's an easy way for you to have some kind of automated system where your past customers are doing the qualification for you. So this is another thing that you want to consider, right? So make sure that you're doing a great job for customers, where especially if you're a business owner, you know how important Google reviews are, any kind of review is. And so, there are customers that are, you just want to have some kind of reputation management process in place. But this is one of the things that you want to make sure that you always consider, especially when it comes to online, because it makes a full circle in digital marketing, where customers are always actively looking for businesses to conduct business with, and you want to make sure that you are fully protected here. The next thing is, so the other thing to consider is also social media. So you'll notice that on social media, how you interact with customer, how consistently you post, that also defines, how many touch points you get in there, right? So even if you're just posting online organically, if you're doing that consistently, that's also a way of warming up customers, getting in front of them, letting them know that I'm not going anywhere, right? So I'm still here. I think it was 2 weeks ago that I did a YouTube video and then I posted on my Facebook. Even though it was just my small group of ladies, they actually, one of the lady, her name is Dee, she sells Edasis cookies. And she actually messaged me and she's like, oh, I forgot that you did this. Would you be able to help me? And I was like, oh yeah, sure, I can help you. But if I had not, if I was not consistent with my posting on that particular group, especially, and sometimes people just need a little reminder. So you want to make sure that you also consider doing posts as a way of warming people up, letting people know that, hey, I do this. Sometimes people forget, and it's a great way to keep everyone in. Keep people informed. Especially if you continuously have different products, or maybe if you have different things going on, you want to use your content strategy and content marketing as a way to keep warming up the customers. And then the purchase happens once they see that you're not going anywhere. They trust your brand. They see when you review businesses online, there's a track record, so you can actually see. When somebody leaves a review, you can actually see all the reviews, right? Whether it's bad or good. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of that, because that is what's going to lead you to the actual closing. If you're on social media, if you don't have reviews, again, they look back at your social media, or they look at your business online and see, okay, how is this business conducting online? Are people commenting negative things, positive things? Are they, posting things that are valuable to me? These are things that are going to help them make that decision. So right now, especially online, you can't see people in person, right? So you can't tell someone you can't convince them to buy. People don't want to be sold anymore. They're more like they're willing to buy. They want to buy. So like everyone is actually willing to buy. They're actually just looking to buy from businesses that they feel comfortable with. And digital marketing really has opened up that world where people do business with people that they actually feel comfortable with and they want to do business with. So this is a key factor in making sure that you're touching, every point on that customer journey. So once you have that conversion, again, it doesn't end there. So like I was saying earlier, we have the full, cycle. So if you can take care of that customer that comes in your door, especially if they're good customers, like, customers that, that match your target audience profile, that, you've done everything for, and they're really, and, they've come out satisfied. You want to make sure you also have a system in place to let them advocate for your business. Send them that review, Google reviews, and make sure that they actually, are able to leave a review for you, or they actually can interact with your post, connect with them on social media, make sure that they're back in the funnel, right? So they're back in the process of, staying in touch. So keeping them in the know. So that's essentially, so here is where the, if these are all the channels that kind of affect, the customer journey online. And so if, especially if you're trying to take your business online, this is key to, your success. Especially the other side of, taking your business or sales online is that making sure that you have systems in place to take those businesses, right? So let me just pull this out. So for example, the business has changed a lot, right? So you're not getting in front of people where you can close people in person. So especially right now, if you're taking your business online, you want to make sure that you have systems in place where people can actually book. Like, for example, let's say that I wanted to, if Placemate is one of our, customers, and let's say they wanted to have someone sign up, they no longer have to print out a proposal, print out a full contract, right? So they can actually click on a membership, and people can actually buy it right there and then, because there's a system in place that allows people to actually buy the product. Right now, gyms are closed, so we don't have that anymore. But the point was that you have the systems in place where people can actually buy online, or they have some steps in place where they can actually go online and book their don't have to deal with anyone. They have all the information about the memberships, and they can actually just buy it right there and then. And so that kind of brings me to the end of the customer journey. And so today, we just wanted to go over this particular, how to take your sales online in terms of the, tracing the sales customer journey. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I see some questions. What do you think?
Yeah, I've got a couple, so we might as well get started. And if you have questions, please put them in the chat window or the Q&A window, and we'll get to them. So the biggest problem I find is before Corona and all the changes, many brick and mortar businesses didn't even consider taking their stuff online. They were happy with foot traffic. They were happy with, so they have a customer base of regulars, which they may or may not have email addresses for. They may or may not have contact information for. Now all of a sudden, people aren't walking by my store, or my primary location used to be in the Path, for example, and there's no, most of those are closed now because there's nobody in the Path anymore. Whatever the case may be, how do I take those How do I reach out? How do I start taking those offline customers and bring them online? Like, how do I start connecting with them and tell them I have a presence, and start encouraging them to visit my site?
So a lot of the businesses, yes, that was the case for me too. Like, as a digital marketing, because I run a small boutique up in North York, and so what I was noticing was that before I had to, like, I was actively, kind of talking to customers, like, hey, you need to take your business online. There's coronavirus coming up. The news was already broken in December, like you said, and we're already knowing about it. Like, you know what, trust me, like, you need to get online, trace your customer journey, get online. And everyone said this is just, it's not going to happen. And but before, even before coronavirus, like, just having the online presence, if you just had worked even 3 months before, or even just you just were consistent beforehand, you have a huge upper edge now, right? So you're coming to a social media with already having following, or already having that email list. So if you're looking to take your the business that you had in person online, obviously right now it's going to be more challenging. So for example, my mom, for instance, we used to do a lot of tables, festivals, but then she now has a storefront at St. Lawrence Market. With the St. Lawrence Market store, their business is it's directly, correlated with how many people come to the market. So, if they don't have any traffic in the market, they don't make any money. So now imagine, how is she going to take all those business that just based on the traffic that just come in to buy bread, and then they do an impulse buy, or maybe they just happen to see my mom for the past 10 years in the store, so they buy from her. Now, if there was a system in place where she gave out cards, there was email, there was you're taking customers' emails, you've been sending out uh, the the link to your website, you already had at least something online, that would have helped. So with my mom, the great thing about here's how she got kind of started. So I just set her up with a Facebook page. I didn't even create a website for her in the beginning. This was 8 years ago, and we just had a Facebook page, and we used that as a link for her website, and then people just message her there, and she gets it directly on her Facebook message, right? So before, there was no messenger. This is long, this is a while back. I mean, not a while back, but we didn't have the messenger. But she was able to reply back immediately using the Facebook. But now, because she gives out those cards with with her web address, people usually just like go to the web address and message her and tell her, hey, I need to get some gifts for this, get some. But that's very little compared to what she had beforehand. So to really protect yourself, you should be, always kind of like really, when a customer walks in your door, especially if you're a brick and mortar, you should really like, you should have that, build that relationship, especially if you're in person, because that's a really close sales cycle. And actually asking for emails, you've seen H&M, they ask for emails. You've seen like every store you go to, they will ask you for emails, and emails is a great way to make sure that you have the contact information. You can always share information, share discounts, share educational material, and so on and so forth.
So we have a question in the chat room about, I already have an Instagram account, but it's not a business account. Should I continue with the old account, where I have a small amount of followers, or start from zero? Apparently they've asked you this before, but how do you make the transition? So if you start a new one, how do you make a post about saying, hey, here's my new venture, and ask to join me over here?
Yeah.
What would you do?
So if you have already some following, I would just stick with that one. You can always change. The great thing about Instagram is you can always change the name. You can always, change the account type. So I would just use the account type. You can always archive all the posts. So you can actually hide all the posts that you did if you don't feel happy with those. But since you already have the following, I'll just stick with that.
Yeah, unless of course they're opposites.
Yeah, and for a business account, you have to convert it. So technically you can just convert the personal one to the business account.
Yeah, when I say opposites, I can't think off the top of my head, but say you were a butcher shop and now you're a vegan shop of some sort. Like, maybe the followers don't transition, but
Yeah.
that's all I was saying, as long as that doesn't happen. So what are the advices? So I'm a new business and I need to get online. Where do I start? there's so many options now. Should I immediately be jumping on TikTok? Should I be looking at Instagram because that's the place to be? Should I be on Facebook? Should I only be on LinkedIn? There's so many options and there's so many hours in the day. Where do I start?
Yeah, always start with you have like a home base, right? So just like a store. So this is a general template. It's not always one that everyone needs to follow, especially if your budget doesn't match it. But here's a template, right? So you have, just as you would have a store where you can conduct business, you need a website, right? So where you can conduct the business. And then once you have the area where you can conduct the business, so that's your real estate online, the website, that's your owned media. Now, once you have that, the idea is that with digital marketing, that's not where it ends. Like a lot of times people will buy a website and then they'll have their website set up and that's it. No. If you want to be found, that you need to be able to create more pages. The best way to create more pages, have blog, right? So that way you create more pages. The more, the more pages you have, the more likely you're going to be found, right? Obviously, you need a keyword strategy behind that as well, but that's number one. And then number two is focusing on social media, where you can get that immediate, you can get in front of people immediately and it's free. So why not take advantage of social media? So that's how you're going to be driving traffic. So for example, like as a brick and mortar store, to drive traffic into your store, right? You'll have people promoting, handing out flyers outside your, you'll see those guys with the, arrows and stuff, doing all kinds of tricks. Same idea, you're doing that, except you're doing on social media. So you can drive that traffic to your website, right? So the website is just a storefront. All the action happens outside. So your search engine marketing, SEO, and your social media, that's where you're driving that traffic to the store. Obviously, if you want good traffic, then you need to target better. So that's why we ask the first 3 questions in the beginning, because if you don't know answers to those 3 questions, it's going to be very difficult to be successful online.
So say I'm starting a business and I have no customers. I'm just starting, and say, I don't know, a flower shop, could be anything, coffee shop, flower shop, whatever. And now I need to figure out who are the local customers, who can I serve? Are there ways you go about finding those people?
So if you don't know who your customers are,
Well, yeah, I mean, because for example, I just moved into Burlington and I'm
yeah,
opening up a flower service delivery or whatever to people in Burlington. But I don't know that Susie buys flowers. I know that I can find
yeah.
people online. You have any? How do I find the flower buyers in Burlington?
Got it. It's best to trace, like, so the customer journey, same thing, except you can look at like what's happening on your competition side. If you don't have any history of activity on your side, you can look at other people, what's happening on their area, like how are they conducting this, how are they able to close more deals than you, make more sales than you. So you need to study the people that are actually successful, just as you would in real life. So that's what I would recommend. The other thing is that I've gone through that process as well, right? So I've gone through the process of starting a business, not knowing who to target. So what I did personally was I focused on specific industries, and then as I kind of found my niche, right now, like I'm working. I mean, so for example, in the beginning, I thought I wanted to work with mostly spas. So what I did was I targeted. I just did a ad which helped me target that market, and just also did in complement. In addition, I also looked at the Google Maps and then just kind of printed out a list of all the salons that were near me, near my little co-working area, and then just went and actually talked to them, and then did an ad just for that vicinity. So the actual postcard, in addition to a Facebook ad, that kind of helped me see that, okay, you know what, the sales cycle is a little bit longer, for most of the stores that I was targeting, because there was like 4 or 5 salons that were owned by like one person, and to get to that person, there was a lot of language barriers. But these are things that you only learn if you test it out. But you have to test out. The best way to do that online is to test out the target audience, and you can do that for as little as $150, right? So you can actually budget out 150 and just target that market and see what's going to happen for you. So something simple, like you can just run a short test or something to help you figure out, okay, who's clicking more, who's actually signing up, what's going on. So that's one way to do it.
And the other way I like advice I like to give, and people, it's kind of sneaky, but it's up to you, is do your competitor research. You know, the examples I gave, coffee shop, flower shop, could be anything. But um, if you do your competitor research, then if it's a coffee shop, go to all the local coffee shops. Do they have Instagram accounts? Do they have social media accounts? Write them down, check them out. Find out, because I would say coffee shop. I'd go to all the local Starbucks, all the local other ones, and they all have a online. So guess what? Most of their customers, or a lot of the people, the social, are already following them. So I would go online, I'd gather that list, figure out who they're, and start following their followers, and
Mhm.
start getting them to notice, and start pushing stuff to their customers to build my customer list, right?
Mhm.
To try and get them, if they're already coffee lovers or flower lovers or whatever in the area, because they're liking this local flower shop, then odds are that there's a good chance that, I can get them interested in me. So, stealing competition's customers is a great way to start building your audience.
Yeah, that's a really great advice. Yeah.
What are some research tools that can be used for the customer journey and social media? Thanks for that question, Gurv.
Yeah. The the best thing to do is for yourself, or does it mean in general?
It sounds like for customers for companies in general.
Okay, so then what you can do is, if you wanted to kind of figure out yours, you just want to sit down and trace out your customer journey. Like if you have been conducting business beforehand, you need to figure out how many steps does it take for someone to buy from you, and then you're going to take those steps and you're going to put that online. For tools, in terms of figuring out what other people are doing, in terms of the organic search, like I mentioned earlier, and the display ads, or SEMrush is a really great tool that can help you assess what's going on with your competition, what they're doing. The other tools, like for example, what Craig was mentioning about targeting the followers of the other competition, is like follow liker. You can target specific. You can target to follow all the followers of your competition. So number one, SEMrush, if you wanted to kind of look at what other people are putting out as part of your awareness, like the keywords that they are targeting, or the display ads that they're showing, or any kind of ads that they have online, you can see that on SEMrush. And then for the actual activity, doing actively going out there and kind of going to other competition and then following their followers, follow liker is a software that you can use as well.
Yeah, be careful with software like Follower Liker, because
Yeah.
any of those automation tools can get you banned pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a disclaimer. That's a good one.
and there, I just put the link to SEMrush in the uh, chat room there. So we have another question here. Does email marketing work?
Yeah, I mean, it does. It does work, as long as you have. The reason it might not work for you is if you have a lot of people that just don't care about you, right? So you want to make sure that you have a. If you're doing email marketing, you're doing email marketing to a list of people that are in your target audience, or at least they're qualified, people, not just random, random people, right? So, for instance, I actually delete people who don't engage with my emails. That way, I can make room for people who are actually interested in my content, because uh, I don't want to show people content that they don't want to see, because that just kind of like that just spam, right? No one likes junk email. Not like no one likes junk mail. At your home when people just drop random stuff at the door. So email marketing does work. There's actually a great email marketing platform like Active Campaign that really helps you. You can actually map out, like, if someone opens the email, if they say yes, they can go in a different area, and then for the people who say no, you can put them through another process. So if they're not interested in like a huge ticket item, so basically there's a lot of different things that you can do. It just really depends on your email list. If your email list is not good, then it doesn't work. But if your email list is good and your messaging makes sense in terms of like communicating with that email list, then it's going to work for you. So yeah, it does work.
And I got to tell you, email marketing works. Like for me, 90% of all the stuff, all our signups, everything comes from the newsletter. We do advertising, we do social media, we do a bunch of different things, but still, around 90% of our stuff comes from our email subscribers.
Yeah.
The next question here: do you have any advice on CRMs?
Oh yeah. So like advice in general.
I think so. It sounds like they're like. Is there a specific CRM you would
So I
recommend?
started out with Zoho, and then now I use HubSpot. So I was using Zoho beforehand. Essentially, as long as it makes sense for you and your business. For CRM, again, the idea is that you want to make sure that whatever lead generation you do, so all the customer journey we talked about today, they all need to connect with each other, right? So we only talked about each one independently, but when you put it into practice, you want to make sure that everything is communicating with each other. So for example, if you have a lead generation ad going on Facebook, once people click through the ad, they go on a landing page, that's on your website or outside, whatever landing page you have. And then on the landing page, you have a form that directly takes the leads and puts them in your CRM. That way you can get a notification on your phone, and then actually message people. So for example, you can have so the HubSpot actually has an app, and you can actually get a notification right on your phone. And then you can actually say, okay, you know what, I need to follow up with this person. Okay. So if you have an ad going, and if that directly connects with the contact form that directly connects with your CRM, that's valuable. But my biggest advice for CRM is that make sure that it's working with your lead generation process. So sales and your marketing needs to be like this online. So there's no friction, there's no stop points where people can leave and just not buy from you, especially if they're interested.
And just to dwell on a little, why did you move from Zoho to HubSpot?
So I was using Zoho when I was when I basically didn't know any other CRM. I just needed a way to organize my contacts. I moved to HubSpot because they had a free version, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to use the free version. So it's solely because I liked the free option. I mean, I mean, it's now $50 per month, but still, I like that at the time because I started my business 3 years ago. So yeah, I just decided to use the free one. And now it's a habit.
Do you offer any training on email marketing?
For email marketing, we have workshops here and there. We might do it with Craig. Who knows, right? That's another idea out there. But right now, no, I don't do any email marketing workshop. But in the past, we did a social media and email marketing workshop. So we might bring that out.
Do you think I could talk you into doing maybe a holiday email marketing thing on the second half of November?
Yeah, sounds good. It's always a yes, Craig.
Great. And John was asking, how do I know if I have a fully optimized Google My Business page?
Oh, that's a good question. So the best way to know that is to, make sure that everything is filled out. So number thing is that whenever they talk about optimization, everyone gets really freaked out because, it's a big word, and, people don't really understand what that means. You're just trying to increase your visibility online, right? So make sure that you're easy to find. So the best way to determine whether your Google My Business is optimized is to go through everything on your account and make sure that everything is filled in. Look at your reviews and then see, how does that look, right? So is there any reviews? Do you have more than 50, more than 10, more than 100? The best way to, make sure that you're optimized but also protected online is to have as many good reviews as possible. That way, someone randomly, giving you unfair rating is not going to throw you off, right? So for example, if you have like no ratings, and then one person, like out of hundreds of your customers, one person just happens to have a bad day, they might write a review, and that's going to bring your score down to 1. But let's say that you had 100 review and one person just rates you 1, that's not going to affect you as much. So one way to make sure that you have an optimized page is to make sure that you filled out everything. You're posting at least once a week on Google My Business, and that also helps with your actual keeping your Google My Business active. And then make sure that your mail is verified. So the address needs to be verified, and you're answering and responding to the reviews that come out. Yeah, that's it.
Does your address need to be verified still? I know it used to be. They used to send you a postcard, but I thought they did it all via text message now.
if you, well, for me right now, every address that I put in, I have had to verify it, especially right now. Like there's verify, but like there's two way. You can also opt in for option to like verify otherwise, and or you can also have not have your address there. But if you're trying to go by local, you need to put in an address, and they send you a mail, and you need to verify that. So for one of my customers, they had multiple areas that they wanted to that they wanted to rank for, and then for that we had to create multiple locations, but they are located only in Markham. So then we had to actually we tried to do it through just like the other way of verification, but they asked us for address to send mail. So that's my experience right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we have a question here about, can we elaborate on Google My Business, because I'm not familiar. Can you any chance you could share your Google My Business
Oh yeah, I can
page?
actually.
And one of those things is you don't get reviews if you don't ask. So if you want testimonials and you want good reviews, you have to ask. So, and here's what it looks like. If you want to give us a review, here is our Google My Business review page, and I'll just put it in the chat room. You feel free to link to that, and feel free, if you got value out of today's session, to give us a 5-star review. But that just gives you an idea, and you just share the link, and you can click on there and just show, give you an idea what it looks like. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually sent the video. So I actually did a video of step-by-step of optimizing your Google My Business page.
Okay.
That might be even better. For if you want to see the actual screen, let me show you. Let's see. I just don't want, let me just make sure that I'm on the right account and I log in. Google My Business. But yeah, so the video that I put in the chat, it has everything in terms of the.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, and are you going to show Google My Business page, or
Yeah,
do you want me to show mine?
because I have multiple accounts. I don't
I
want to
know.
show all my clients.
That's why I was I wasn't sure. I could show mine if you want.
Yeah. So here is one. So earlier I talked about the Paladin Auto. So right now we froze the. So on average, the amount of, so they don't do any ads, right? So we have the so for example, when we do have reviews, we had one bad review last, I think it was 3 weeks ago, and it was like for inspection or something. That's out of like 59, right? So it doesn't affect it as much, is what I was trying to say. But this is how it looks on the back end. So you have, if you go through the video, I go through every single step, so you can kind of go through it here. But it's pretty crazy, like how much traffic you can get just on your, like just from your maps. Like 24,000 views is a lot of views organically. That's a lot, right? If you go and search your own website, a lot of times on average, a lot of people have traffic like 1 to 2, 1 to 10. Like it's crazy how people who are not doing any social media, any search engine marketing, they just have a website. There is no traffic happening on that website. So a lot of times it's really important to give yourself an advantage and really take advantage of the Google My Business page.
Yeah, and this is kind of like free advertising, right? It's off page. It's links back to your site. It's not only that, but a lot of people aren't familiar with, that's where a lot of that information, that Google sidebar information, comes from. The picture and the info. When you look up stuff and the business you look up has that info in the sideline of the Google search, that usually is pulled from your Google My Business page. So that's how you get that stuff in there. All right, so we've got time for one or two more. So when you're going to talking about taking your business online, is there a strategy specifically to approach your offline customers? Do you send them a mailer, for example, if you've got addresses of people who bought from you because you've got that's what you collected instead of actual emails? Would a digital mailer to your a physical mailer to point to your website be effective, or is there another way to reach out to them?
So the mail one is pretty expensive.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a really good one if you do have that budget, because people like that card or something, right? So the other thing to do is you can just, so we had a real estate agent and they collected a lot of those business cards, right? So you can actually just ask for emails, or if they, it's usually on the business cards. So if you, I had to actually, you know, go back and look at my my networking events. I was like, okay, you know what, these ones go, can go online. So people I've met in person, usually I do ask them for their contact information. Even if you don't have their email, you can always, you know, message them like as you would with any person, right? So if, especially if it's you know, real estate clients, they're pretty high ticket item clients. So saying a hello, how are you? Oh, by the way, I have some news to share. Like I just noticed that in the marketplace there is a, you know, this is happening. This is kind of like in your area. This is the kind of pricing that's going on. I love to share the article. Do you have an email? Simple, right? That's a simple way of getting, you know, especially the customers that you want online, online. But if it, if you're referring to smaller ticket items, obviously that approach is going to be harder because you probably don't have the contact information. So that one's a little more tricky. You'll just, I just would just target online and get as many emails online as possible through my new app. Like now is the time to collect.
You mentioned the Facebook chat and Messenger and getting that working. What about the chat bots or the like Drift or what have you clients for websites? Is that effective?
So for the Facebook, what I meant earlier was like my mom didn't have a website, so we just kind of hooked her up with a
Yeah.
free Facebook, and she didn't want to spend money on a website. This was 8 years ago. Um, so people would directly message her, but we can also see their, the great thing about Facebook is that when people message you, they also leave behind a trace, right? So you can actually click on their profile, you can actually learn about your customer a little bit more. So you can actually message them back. With the messenger now, you can actually have FAQs, you can have the automated messaging whenever people land on your Facebook. So that's, and you can also add your messenger on your website as a chatbot, right?
Yeah, currently don't have a chatbot on our website right now because I've been playing with tweaking performance and it was slowing me down. It was something I couldn't. It was a variable I had to take out of the equation. So I'll eventually put back in there. But I found that a lot of people reached out to me afterwards. One, and thought when I stopped that there was something wrong. We weren't doing anymore because your chatbot's not there. But two, a lot of people would just go there. And when I say a lot of people, once they had a relationship with me, they just go and knew that if you go to our Toronto Starts website and start a drift conversation, it goes to my phone. So
Yeah.
you're chatting with me.
Yeah.
So I'm building a community of people who are just trying to connect. So I think it's very effective. And for you people not to be afraid of it, to build a website, put that chat on there, get that app on your phone, and interact with your customers because you're trying to give them a feeling that you're there, you're a real person, and you're responding. And I used to go, "Is this a robot?" All the time, and I just respond funnily. Kind of wish I was, that I wouldn't be in so much pain today, or whatever. But you say respond funnily, but you're building a connection with people, and they get used to that, and they want to buy from you, and want to have the relationship again. People buy from people. So if you can give a personal touch on the website, I think it's very helpful.
Yeah, no, great.
So we're out of time. Where can people go and find you if they want to have more? And do you have any upcoming events people should know about, courses and stuff?
Oh yeah. So I mean, I have launched a course. I only have one other spot. That's why I didn't mention
Oh,
it. But if you are interested, I do have a social media crash course where I take, because I find that with social media, that's the first, you know, first thing that you can take advantage of right away when you're trying to get online. And when it comes to social media, everyone can, you know, just use social media as a personal. But on the business side, you need to know your advertising, how to advertise, how to retarget, how to add that Facebook pixel on your website, how to actually do content marketing, and, you know, basically assess your analytics. So in this course, I'm gonna take you through every single step. It's a 5-week program every Saturday at noon. So that's I think it's called A to Z of social media for business. So you can definitely sign up for that if you are interested. I'm also going to release the course online later, but that one is not going to be as interactive. This one is just me, and I kind of put it only down to 8 people that I want to talk to. And then for the actual course, if you're later on, it's going to be also much yeah, it's going to be recorded. So you can always access that one later on if you're interested.
Yeah, I just put the link to the chat room for that one so people can go check it out. Thanks a lot for taking the time. And if they want to check out more, maybe get your services one last time, where do they go?
TheSocialSherpa.ca.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you.